Has this been, from your point of view, in some ways, a disappointing start?
It's good to see you guys on TV.
Ross, what was the need to trade Aaron Sanchez now?
Certainly wasn't a need.
You know, the lineup is set to get guys who are run producers opportunities to produce runs.
Yep.
And it worked last night. There were opportunities. They just didn't come through. How frustrating is that?
I felt good about the game the entire night. I really did.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
I'm just wondering what you expect those conversations to look like, in particular with those two players, once the free agent period begins.
Yeah, as I said to them, each of them individually and together actually will be exceptionally attractive to players moving forward.
So if you can kind of understand, you can't share the very detailed aspects of it, but where did you kind of leave that off? Like, do you expect to continue conversations with those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, that dialogue will be constant.
Ross, what was this negotiation process like for the front office?
Well, the negotiation process with John Schneider is not something that I would get into the details of.
In your mind right now in the organization, how many of those exist?
Yeah, I mean, it's so really every year you have a great story.
Think about things from a bigger lens perspective was very helpful for us, and felt productive for John as well.
Can you give an example of what that thinking, specific examples of what that thinking about things from a broader lens might look like?
I'd love for today to be about John Schneider and how excited we are about him, and I would love to drill down on that with you in maybe a different setting. I'm just so excited about getting here today.
Juan Soto was the name. Juan Soto was the name that everybody was after. How deep, if at all, did conversations get on the Soto front?
Getting into the discussions, we'll be here all day. We could pick the next player to talk about how far we were on discussions, but there wasn't a market that we weren't in.
What would you say to Blue Jay fans, or the odds of either of those, both of those, and I want to include Steven Matz in there as well. What is your sense of the odds of one, two, or all three of them being Blue Jays next year?
Well, I think it bodes exceptionally well for us that we were a part of such significant years.
But was Soto a priority? I think a lot of Blue Jay fans are just wondering, how much interest was there from Toronto's side on Soto?
Yeah, I mean, you can't be in the game and not have interest in that player. And it was our responsibility to exhaust it, and we did.
You kind of look back at last offseason and previous off seasons. Are there any kind of team building lessons you take away from how this went? Anything you've changed?
Yeah, there's always lessons.
You said on your Zoom call, we're a better team than we were prior to the deadline. What do you see this team now being for the next 2.5 months?
It's not just the 2.5 months. For us, it's the next several years.
Has this changed your plans, I guess is how I would put it? Has what has happened to Alec changed your plans as we get, closer and closer to the trade deadline?
I wouldn't say change our plans. We're always looking for depth.
Waiting somewhere, Nate Pearson and Julian Merriweather, how much of a priority now do they become for the home stretch of this season?
Well, there's so many others.